Number 15. Accidental events. Most people know not to move after they've been in a wreck, but a TikToker named XOXO Kate is getting turned up in a car that's been turned upside down. Through a shattered windshield, you can see they've been struck and are now hanging suspended. I know that their adrenaline is high, and the video is definitely an original idea, but I feel like they could have had internal damage to their organs that they don't feel at the moment and could be making worse. Moving their head around with a concussion would likewise make the situation worse than it had to have been. Like I said, this video is interesting, and I'm glad they weren't thrown from the car, because the aftermath looks really serious, but I think the proper procedure would be not to move until an ambulance arrives. Next time you're in India, cruising in the UP, you might want to avoid driving in the rain. This couple was nearly consumed by an unseen pit or manhole. Thankfully, bypassers came to their aid. After the couple was pulled to safety, I'm sure there wasn't much that could be done to save the scooter. The husband was a cop, and both did not walk away from the incident unscathed. I think this serves as an example to exercise extreme caution when driving through any body of water. The Camino de la Muerte, or Road of Fate, lies in Bolivia along a 50-mile rocky narrow downhill road. The pass is so dangerous that the Inter-American Development Bank deemed it the most dangerous in the world in 1995. Somewhere between 200 to 300 people perish each year on this road. In this video, a bus driver attempts to traverse it to his own detriment. The road, which had recently suffered heavy rain, was prone to landslides, making the crossing even riskier business than usual. After ordering his passengers off the bus for safety's sake, they watch in terror as the driver attempts to creep across a very shaky and crumbling stretch of sand and rock, one that should not be crossed. The passengers attempt to help guide him, with one man in the video moving forward to motion that the driver move further away from the edge. It appears as if the bus will be successful in completing this crossing, but suddenly, the ground crumbles beneath it, and the bus tips, falling over the cliff, through the trees, and down the mountain. While it's fortunate that the 50 passengers survived their devastating journey, sadly, their driver did not. 3 friends on a YouTube channel called W2S decide to invent a game that they will all soon regret. All you have to do to win is kick a soccer goal from a rooftop pass. After nearly breaking a window and denting a car, they decide to try the game one last time. When they go to throw the ball to the guy on the rooftop, however, things don't go so well. Their friend misses the ball and tumbles all the way down from the roof to the ground. The only thing that breaks his fall is the roof of a car, which he heavily before slamming into the gravel below. He is somehow miraculously fine. This could have easily resulted in something much worse. Number 14. Parasitic presence. A solid stream of worm-like invaders moves in unison across the forest floor, while a dog whines with fear. Listen to the noises their dog makes, and try to tell me it's not warning them to get far away. There's got to be some kind of logical explanation in nature for this, but it sure looks like the start of a parasitic invasion to me. And when another canine joins in, I can't help but suspect this group has discovered something they'll soon wish they had never come across. Obviously the animals are on guard, but from what exactly is my question? Worms aren't only found in insects. They can also be found in that next bell pepper you buy from the produce aisle. The uploader writes, "That thing was in a pepper. Looks like he wants to grow in someone's gut, lol." What is that thing? The thing looks like a tapeworm, but according to Snopes, the worm inside the pepper actually isn't that dangerous. The viral video came to light in August of 2019. The stringy worm moving inside the pepper was something a lot of viewers couldn't unsee apparently, and many saw it, as it was reposted on Facebook a million times, with viewers warning about the worm. Some posts warned that the worm was called Symbla Merch, and that it was a new type of worm that delves into moist areas of the body, resulting in possibly passing away. The claims, however, like so many posts on Facebook, were inaccurate. One said it might be a horsehair worm, which we talked about in the previous parasite entry, but adult horsehair worms are darker. Even the original message was false. This is not a new type of worm. It's been around since the dawn of time. Lesson learned: clean and prepare your green peppers properly, but still eat them. Another lesson learned: salmon is supposed to be good for you, but this piece has something extra inside of it that definitely isn't.
Maybe they'll give me a discount on that one.
As he captures the creature on video, 25 seconds is when the worm finds a soft spot and plunges back inside. This video is especially terrifying when you realize this is not abnormal, nor is it the store's fault. Most salmon is infected with these worms, and improper cooking could introduce a live one into your system. So remember, worms wiggling in your food is a common occurrence that is occasionally caught on tape, and don't forget that you're still eating crunchy ones even when properly cooked. I think they should put a label about it on the packaging because most people probably don't know about this slimy little problem and could have eaten them already, including me and you. What on earth is this creature? Nair BR writes of this bizarre sighting on camera. This strange creature got caught up in strong winds and his wife was cleaning when it blew into the house. I was thinking it might be a territorial dispute between two insects, but as it unravels at 2 minutes and 25 seconds, it looks like one big creepy squirming oddity. The way it moves is unlike a snake or a worm or anything I've really seen before. It looks just as confused of us as we are of it, forming strange spiral shapes as it tumbles about, reaching out for something to grab onto. A host, perhaps. Whatever it is, it looks like something that crawls straight up your nose and takes over your brain. A parasite moving on to its next victim. Now that I've seen it, much like Nair BR, I want to know what on earth this creature is, and so I turn to you for an explanation. Number 13. Chased by shadows. This slow motion video captures a man peeling around a corner as fast as he can, and soon you see exactly what has him moving so fast. A gigantic cheetah literally bounces off the wall in pursuit. The video ends before we exactly get to see what happens next. Maybe this cheetah really did come in straight from the jungle, or maybe it was kept as a household pet until one day it simply snapped. Whatever the case may be, I doubt it ended well for the person running away. Then again, I have no idea why he would just happen to have a camera set up to catch this event perfectly, so maybe it was scripted after all. Let me know what you think is going on here, and also tell me if you have any more background information that can help us put this video in better context. When you head into the middle of nowhere in search of a cave, you certainly aren't looking to meet strangers. YouTuber Lil Goofy says that whenever he goes to this place, nobody is there. Not this time. He published this video of the incident in July of 2019 writing, "I brought a friend to see a rare cave in our local mountains that hardly anyone goes to. On our way up through a trail that leads to the caves, a stranger came out and waves at us. Then he pulled out what looked to be a big blade, so me and my friend ran since we didn't have any protection nor cell phones." In the video, the stranger is pointed out at a distance. He's dressed in black, and the YouTuber notes that his hands are behind his back. When the pair realize that the man has a blade, they hightail it out of there as fast as they can. As they slow to a stop, realizing they both left their phones in the car, the stranger rounds the corner, and they run off again, taking a left fork in the trail and wondering if the stranger knows the trail better than they do. After a while, they watch for their pursuer and catch him on video running up the trail. Finally, they make it back to their car in one piece. What were this man's intentions? Evil or not, this looked like it wouldn't have ended well. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Crystal Hills 0193, this redditor wrote, "Checking out an abandoned school when we were chased out. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about."
It doesn't matter. Another throwback.
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Lit_FUS3D wrote, "Scared out, I'd say." To which the uploader responded saying, "We were on the highest floor, nobody was above us, but yet it came from above us, and when we got out of the building we heard footsteps running at us. Perhaps there was someone else in the building that day, and they weren't expecting visitors. Or perhaps this abandoned school truly is haunted. Which side are you on here? Let me know in the comments." There are rumors of a small cult living on a forgotten side road somewhere by the Baltimore Turnpike just off Route 1. A YouTuber named Dragon Lafferty claims to know its exact location and has uploaded proof. It isn't long before him and his friends pass another vehicle, which turns around and starts tailgating them at high speeds.
Coming right up on us too. Ouch, ouch, yep. Yay, we're being chased.
The car continues to come at them down the winding road way too fast, alternating between high beams and total darkness all the while. Dragon Lafferty and his friends nervously play off the chase like it's no big deal, but I can tell that they are nervous. The cult member eventually disengages upon reaching the main road. Everyone is lucky to have made it out alive, but then they have a very bad idea.
I don't know what would happen if we stopped. People said they'd do it, but they never said, like, what happened.
Their last update was more than 8 years ago, so maybe they followed through with their plan and were never heard from again. Number 12. Insect Encounters. Freddy44 is a YouTuber with a terrible problem.
I could feel it moving around.
Spray this in yourself.
No, you're doing good, dude.
But I don't. But I can't get it because you're moving.
Something has climbed inside of his ear and won't get out. They pick at it for a while, but only succeed in removing small bits and pieces. Not even the emergency room can get rid of it after a 2-hour procedure. 2 full days later, Freddy is finally able to see a specialist and find out what's been so deeply lodged in his ear canal.
All the way in there. There it is. Got it.
Do you want to see it next to his face?
Oh my lord.
He goes.
Okay, here's some perspective.
This is the June bug that had managed to become trapped in Freddy's ear. Believe it or not, they had to remove the giant bug in 2 separate sections, so what you are seeing here is roughly half of its true size. If insects aren't your thing, then this entry will highly test your bravery. This footage is of an insect swarm at the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. The uploader writes, "During our family holiday in 1996 or 7, we had parked the car and gone for a short walk up the cliffs. When we came back, we found that our car had become a hotspot for these giant wood lice, sea slaters. The clip shows piles upon piles of wood lice crawling around the car tires, an absolutely terrifying sea of insects, all coalescing beneath the vehicle. As the uploader says, probably attracted to its cozy comfiness. After seeing this, would you be brave enough to climb back in and leave? I thought not." Junior Tor 1 helps his father move a table, and only when they put it down does he notice something he wishes he never caught on camera.
And we picked it up under here, and we carried it out. And when I flipped it over, guess what I discovered? And I stuck my hands under there.
From the view at 36 seconds, it's easy to see how the spider stayed hidden from view. The circled area is where the spider is, and also exactly where he grabbed the table to lift it. For better context, this is where his fingers were, and of course you already know where the spider is. He thinks this is a wolf spider, but someone else claims this to be a dark fishing spider. This is a fierce debate in the comments section of the video, so let's see if we can settle the issue here. It's 4 in the morning when Casey Jones awakens to a creepy scratching noise coming from above. It's loud enough to be a rodent, but as she's about to reveal, it's something unexplainably worse.
No, it's not a mouse. It's this. What the f is that thing? Does anybody know? Oh.
It looks like an exceptionally large grasshopper that's roughly as thick as her thumb. I know this insect must have a real name, but giant mutant bug is all that comes to mind. Feel free to clue me in on its actual identity. Number 11. Bad weather. A student needs to leave during the middle of a hailstorm, so without thinking they grab the first thing they can find, which happens to be an aluminum foil pan, and charge out into the elements. Marissa follows behind another student to see what happens next, but they don't even get around the corner before they find themselves in just as much danger. Lightning strikes close enough to shut the power off and makes some random people inside scream for their lives. Somehow the bolt of lightning misses the student's metal-covered head and they are okay, but still, I bet running out of there made it strike much closer to them than it would have otherwise. Moral of the story? I hope everyone has learned to stay safe in their room anytime it's like this outside. This unlucky fellow must have the strictest parents ever, because he's mowing his lawn in some pretty severe weather. A storm is rolling into St. Louis, Missouri, and things are about to get bad for him quickly.
Ellie, stay back.
Man!
His neighbor tells him to get inside, but he refuses. Apparently, he either doesn't know or doesn't care that pushing a big piece of metal under a bunch of trees is a recipe to attract lightning.
Hey, get inside!
Even after almost getting stuck, the defiant neighbor continues to mow his yard as the weather gets worse. That's when the person recording decides they are standing outside too and takes their own advice. This neighbor may have beaten out the elements this time, but I don't know how many storms they can weather before they learn their lesson the hard way. Definitely don't do what they do unless you want to wind up struck by lightning. A YouTuber named Flair is left shaken after a fishing trip goes wrong, and you'll never guess how. It's a clear day when they hit the lake, but after a while, dark clouds soon roll in. Flair and his friend are too busy catching fish to notice a sudden shift. That's when nature tells him it's time to go back indoors. His line pops with static. Lightning has struck the lake somewhere and sent a jolt through them both. One of them gets into the water to tie the boat off. A risky move in my opinion. He's out of the water again before lightning strikes twice. I'm glad they both appear to be unharmed. But talk about a close call. A YouTube channel called Sailing Latitude is boating around the Italian island of Sardinia when a freak lightning storm breaks overnight, forcing them into survival mode. They try to outrun the storm at first, but the winds are much too strong and soon lightning is breaking directly overhead. Aside from getting zapped, a single bolt would be enough to fry their navigation equipment and leave them completely stranded at sea. The experienced navigator is able to visually estimate two areas where lightning is striking the most, and they sail between these two areas skillfully. In other words, they basically have no choice but to steer between two storms, and in doing so they almost get trapped in the storm multiple times, like here at 10 minutes and 15 seconds for example. To make matters worse, the winds could change at a moment's notice and bring the storm clouds even closer. Somehow they just barely managed to sail through the little pocket of clear weather, well flanked between two storms. Hours later, a calm sunrise greets them, as if it was all just a bad dream. Number 10. Wonders of the Woods. While out on his porch, this young man spots two green eyes peering back at him from the darkness. Published in June of 2020, Jimmy Reynolds lives near the edge of the woods, so it would be safe to assume that any number of woodland creatures are nearby. But what kind of creature is this? He approaches the eyes in the darkness, speaking out to it.
What the hell? See, there it is. Hey! Oh, what the f***? You'll see that.
But as he gets closer, it apparently runs off. Jimmy thinks it could be a cat or a dog, but people in the comments are of the opinion that it's something much larger. Some say it's a skinwalker or a crawler. Others say it could be a forest ghoul. Cat Anonymous writes, "It's probably stalking your house for food. Not sure if it eats humans. In any case, this dude better lock his doors." Hina Tahir and her sister are camping in New Jersey's Double Trouble State Park when they notice a strange woman who is half submerged in a local lake. Her clothes are all white, and she has a serious expression on her face as she sways in place. To this very day, the two girls aren't sure if what they recorded was a live person or a ghost. If it was a person, then I have absolutely no idea why they would be in the water, well fully clothed. And if it was a ghost, then maybe her body is lurking in the shadow waters below. Whatever the case may be, Hina and her sister decide to leave the woman in peace and dare not go any closer. A TikToker paranormal team called Zodiac Supernatural is in the middle of the woods when this wild noise rips through an otherwise still night. Tell me if you can identify this creature, because it sounds massive and furious.
Really cool to be sitting.
I can't tell if it's being devoured, letting out a warning call, or just going crazy at their camera lights. I'm surprised that everyone doesn't immediately run away, which makes me wonder if they actually had some idea of what it was and possibly weren't telling us.
So it's really cool to be sitting.
While hiking in the woods of Slovakia, this hiker didn't realize he was being stalked until it was nearly too late. Published by Lion Plays Mobile in January of 2022, this hiker is capturing video in the woods as forest noises sound all around him. After a moment, you can see something large in the trees, rattling them aggressively. The unknown creature roars, and the hiker drops his camera downward and starts running. What is haunting the forests of Slovakia? Is it a bear or something out of a horror story? Number 9. Orb occurrences. Here's another strange surveillance tape out of Singapore, this time at an apartment building in Tampines. Most of the orb videos I've seen in the past could be explained away as a piece of dust, but this is clearly something way different. At first, I thought that this was someone playing with a high-powered flashlight, but then I realized two things. You can usually see a ray of light leading back to a person holding the flashlight, but there's no such thing here. Secondly, the orb appears to briefly switch to a gray color when it hits the wall. Watch this part of the video to see the colors change. That's not something an ordinary flashlight would do. If anyone can explain these two things to me, then I'll agree that it's fake. This rare video was taken about a year ago, during the middle of a seance. The group is moving the pointer in a circle to clear the board when suddenly the camera woman asks,
Can you manifest into an orb near Sam?
There is a bit of an accent, but her exact words are, "Can you manifest into an orb near Sam?" Sure enough, a tiny ball of white light darts past the group shortly after. It could be editing, it could be a coincidence, or it could be a very polite and respectful ghost who is doing exactly as they were told. Jennifer Garcia and her boyfriend are woken up at 1 in the morning by an alarm from their Ring cam. This weird round object floating around on a clear night is what sets off the alert. Too slow moving to be a bug, not to mention transparent. So what do you think this mysterious unexplained light could be? I'm not sure if it's a real paranormal video, but I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt and entertain the possibility of a ghost orb outside. This haunted doll room is giving YouTube team SS3 Paranormal the creeps. The team keeps a security camera in the room, and it's been capturing unexplained noises. Listen closely. You'll hear a bang, scratching near the mic, and also what sounds like a breath. There also appears to be an orb floating near the possessed dolls. The orb could be dust, but the noises unsettle me. Are the dolls coming alive in this room? I'd have a hard time entering after hearing that strange breath. Number 8. Scary videos filmed by dashcam. This dashcam video was taken in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and it shows a tiny bipedal creature scurry across the road, not even as tall as the concrete barrier on the right. It looks pretty good until you look down at the feet and notice that it's gliding across the road and not taking real steps. So in my opinion, I think it might be computer animation. What do you think? There's nothing like Russian dashcam videos. They're usually next level crazy. This video clip is no different. A red Volkswagen is seen cutting off the driver with the dash cam and another car in front of him. So when they reach a red light, the driver decides to rev his engine and pass the Volkswagen. Big mistake. After they pass him, the Volkswagen speeds up again to pull around the driver and cuts him off, blocking his way forward. Then a man dressed in black gets out of his vehicle to confront the dashcam driver. After a very brief exchange of pleasantries, the Volkswagen owner opens the trunk of his vehicle and reaches for a golf club. Apparently, the faintest confrontation in Russia on the road can lead to brutal results, of your vehicle at least. Things have been known to quickly escalate on the Russian roads. A police officer is patrolling a long stretch of country road when something suddenly almost causes him to swerve into a ditch. It's hard to see what happened, but when you slow the video down and play it frame by frame, you can see a transparent figure step directly into the police officer's path. Look closely and you can just make out the slender outline of a head and a body. It almost looks like the small frame of a woman. The figure passes through the car without damage, and the police officer makes a 3-point turn to go back and investigate. As he crawls forward, he sees nothing. The road is empty and the night scenery is silent. This dashcam video shows traffic moving normally across 4 unobstructed lanes, when out of nowhere a woman appears in front of a black pickup truck. She keeps walking to the other side like nothing is wrong. The black pickup truck definitely hits its brakes, and the car behind them does so as well, which seems like a realistic response. Then again, there's clearly a red stoplight up ahead, so maybe they were braking for that instead. I don't know why this video is void of color. I'm assuming it's because black and white video would take up less space on the dashcam memory card. but it's safe to say that only a ghost would be able to do what this woman does. Number 7. Stranger encounters. It's always unnerving when a complete stranger shows up on your doorstep, but even more so when it's someone acting like this guy. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Miss Doolittle Tex, the Redditor explains that this man showed up on her doorstep and just stood there, not ringing the doorbell. The video shows exactly that. He walks slowly and haphazardly to the door, carrying some plastic bags. Then he just stands there for a moment, appearing to be listening at her door, before turning around and heading back up the sidewalk. He isn't wearing a mask, and as the Redditor says, left as soon as her dogs started barking, but not for long. He is seen on another security camera, walking along some grass behind the houses. He simply strolls along the water and then disappears, but moments later is seen racing back, jumping fences along the way. Apparently someone had also trespassed on her neighbor's property the previous night. It's unclear what he did there, how long he stayed, or what or who he's fleeing from, but the Redditor didn't want to find out what his plans were. She called the authorities. This man doesn't appear to be in his right mind. Whatever this man's situation, most agree calling the authorities was the right thing to do. This is apparently police dashcam footage from Arizona. The officer is clearly on highway patrol at night, and after a short while he takes a turn down a dirt road. This is where he spots a woman standing alone in the road with some small embers near her feet. Though it originally appears she is standing with her back turned to the police officer. Soon after, she lifts up her arms, and there appears to be 2 glowing eyes facing the officer. The footage ends shortly after with no further explanation. I searched but couldn't find any footage of the incident after this part, so we may never know what happened next to this officer or this woman with glowing eyes. Think you have creepy neighbors? Think again. Posted to the WTF subreddit, Protomancer writes, "Just someone slithering through my neighbor's yard in the middle of the night." That description about sums this clip up, but let's take a look at the Nest camera footage. A stranger is seen lying on its stomach on the ground outside this person's home. After a moment, he starts moving in what is well described as a slither. He could actually be crawling, with the camera distorting the movements into something even creepier. Not that army crawling across your neighbor's yard is normal at all. Well, some Redditors think the dude is just playing night crawlers. Others think the guy is on something. One Redditor, however, shares another possible theory from first-hand experience. Chordophonic writes, "Quite a few years ago I had something similar happen. Though I was several lawns away, the dude finally stopped on my lawn and we called 911 because he'd been caught with some other dude's wife, and it turns out her husband put a round in this guy. I kind of hope it's one of the first 2 scenarios here." This Russian dashcam video starts with a car full of friends gawking at a figure dressed in all black who looks very out of place standing all alone in the quiet city streets so late at night. Something feels off about this stranger, so they decide to double back and take a second look out of curiosity. This time they get a much better view at the shadowy apparition and they all yell in surprise. The cloaked figure has stepped into the street and now faces them, almost as if expecting their return. The camera's quality is admittedly not very good, but I can't make out a single discerning feature of this person's face, which makes me wonder if they even have one to begin with. It's almost as if they were a shadow person. Then again, these friends kind of sound like they were possibly making a big deal out of nothing. With that said, something about the figure's silent, menacing posture and the way it stands in place makes me think this could be a spirit after all. Number 6. Close call encounters. A race car driver finds himself in one of the worst predicaments possible when the steering wheel breaks off in his hands shortly after kicking it into high gear by itself. Judging by his right leg, it doesn't look like he hit the gas at all. The only thing left to do to keep from flying into the wall is pull the emergency brake, which he grabs immediately after fumbling a moment more with the now non-existent controls. The faraway look in his eyes at the end of it all says everything. He knows exactly how much danger he was in, and that he's lucky to still be alive. An outdoor restaurant is about to be creepy, and it's all caught on CCTV tape. This top right couple seems to be having an intense conversation. At 10 seconds, there's some chest pounding on both sides. It looks like a bad breakup or something until 25 seconds when he stands up and is ready to storm out, but then points at the food lodged in his throat. They weren't having an argument at all. He was slowly becoming more and more unable to breathe. She starts patting him on the back, but apparently this is a big mistake. I am not giving any medical advice, but the Mayo Clinic says not to do this unless you're trained to deliver a special back blow between the shoulder blades. From what I've read, patting someone on the back can sometimes make the food move further down the windpipe and get even more stuck. A brave restaurant worker gets behind him, makes a fist with one hand slightly above the belly button, grabs his fist and gives a quick upward thrust as if picking him off the ground for a moment. This is called the Heimlich maneuver, and it's a good thing somebody in the restaurant knew it. Most states have laws in place for restaurant staff to have this kind of training, and this scary scenario caught on tape is exactly why. I encourage everyone to get the proper training because you never know when this could happen to someone nearby, maybe even you. There must be no scarier feeling than having an entire crowd watch you helplessly while you can't breathe. This man who helped him is truly a hero. A YouTuber named Tim Wells is out bow hunting with his friends when a flock of geese appear directly overhead. One of them aims and takes fire without properly taking the angle of his shot into account.
Oh, watch this arrow. This arrow straight up. It's coming right for us.
He shoots roughly 90 degrees into the air, and you can actually hear the projectile cutting through the wind like a missile as it heads back towards their exact position. It somehow lands roughly 10 feet in the middle of all of them, and they barely get away. Judging from the size of the arrow, there's no way any of them would have survived a direct hit. A YouTuber named Nick Soup is barefoot water skiing when suddenly he finds one of the handles wrapped firmly around his throat. Look again in slow motion and you'll see exactly how this 1 in a million scenario unfolds. The handle drops into the water, shoots back into the air, and wraps perfectly around Nick's throat like a noose. Thinking fast, he rips the handle over his head while still hanging on. Had he let go and fallen into the water, he would have been dragged by the neck at high speeds. Number 5. Randonautica encounters. We've all seen some creepy things found during Randonautica outings, but sometimes the scariest part of Randonautica is the unnerving feeling of being watched. YouTuber Ange Bona TV discovers a series of creepy items on his venture into the woods, but it's not the items that have put him on edge. Before long, he hears something.
There's somebody talking. Sounds like it's coming from down there.
Is someone watching him?
Sounds like it's all the way down there though, so... Okay, probably nothing to, Oh. Something's moving around in here.
He continues on, but senses that he's being followed.
Sounds like that laughing is getting closer.
Come on.
I honestly don't think it's a cause for concern.
Although Angelo doesn't encounter anyone on the rest of his Randonautica, I do feel as though someone was very nearby. If I were him, I wouldn't be doing another Randonautica for a while. He shouldn't press his luck. YouTuber Near Shadows has a stalker. After being led here by Randonautica, this is what they capture on camera.
That's it. What the heck?
Oh my, please, please.
Go.
Please.
Go.
Please.
What the was that?
Is that a demon, a banshee, or is it human? It doesn't sound human to me. My money's on this being a banshee. Everything Paranormal Show gets in on the scary Randonautica video craze and goes randonauting with paranormal creepy stuff in mind.
Now, just to let you know, my intent was paranormal creepy.
The TikTok app takes him to a random address and he waits for some creepy stuff to begin, which it most certainly does.
We've got, like I said, this dude's checking me out. I wanted something creepy. Yeah, this dude's just standing here, freaking staring at me.
Before he knows it, somebody is standing near his car. They're not moving, just staring him down. To be fair, what to him is a creepy man could just be someone wandering, who is in their parking space. But even when he leaves, the man is standing completely still, simultaneously staring at nothing in particular, and everything all at once. This video, posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Exploring with Eric, is another random Randonautica adventure. Only this adventure took its victims somewhere that no one would choose to end up, the abandoned site of a witch's ritual. Eric writes, myself and Veronica unexpectedly found a ritual site and it was beyond disturbing. Directed by the app into the middle of nowhere at night, the pair wander through the wilderness to the random destination set out for them and arrive at an old rocky structure that looks like it's been around for a good while. The abandoned site is littered with recognizable graffiti alongside symbols that aren't so recognizable. Although the place appears to have been frequented by others, these others may not have all been innocent random Randonauticers or taggers, but rather more nefarious individuals. After exploring an enormous empty tank outside, they head inside the stone structure. This is where things get freaky. Inside is a bizarre and creepy sight. Encircled by a red ring with votive candles surrounding it, they discover a piece of paper scrunched up on the floor. As they attempt to unfurl it to see what's written, they keep hearing things. Veronica says it sounds like someone laughing. They decide to leave, but they take the paper with them. Once in the car, they open it and find the messages written in Spanish. According to YouTuber Luisa Gutierrez, it reads in English, "It's a trap, my spirit Marlene here. Please say my name 3 times. There also appears to be a date at the end." What does it all mean? Eric and Veronica may have just cursed themselves. Number 4. Moving Objects Phenomena. These friends are talking in the kitchen when someone else pulls up a chair to join them. The only problem is, no one's there. When one of them finally notices that the chair is a full 2 or 3 feet away from the table, he's so startled that he doesn't even close the refrigerator. He just wants to get away fast, which is a realistic reaction for sure.
That chair move.
Of course, no one else in the group believes his bizarre story at first, but when they see it for themselves, their scared reaction are as legit as can be. I'll add that the fear and surprise on his face is readily apparent here too.
Chair move! You got crazy?
All of them are trying to come up with a rational explanation, and the best answer they have is that the man in a white shirt is somehow causing it to happen. It's true that the chair only seems to move when he is either approaching it or standing nearby. Just when they are beginning to calm down, a final event seems to confirm their suspicions.
Something's wrong with you, bro. Something's wrong with you.
Let me know what you think is happening here, and if you think this is a prank or the early stages of a spiritual possession. A paranormal researcher named Eduardo Haunter is exploring an abandoned hospital in the northern part of Mexico City. He gets pretty far and eventually sets up a camera in an old examination room, hoping to record some scary things on video. At 3 a.m., things get pretty weird. An old chair groans under the weight of an apparent ghost doctor sitting down. I don't think this was done with a string either. The top half of the chair moves while the wheels remain stationary. Or perhaps Eduardo simply put the wheels in a locked position first. I'm not sure what to believe. There's arguments for both explanations, so take one last look and help me decide. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Havoc Nova, this redditor wrote, "Walked into my office to start my workday and found this, and I can see exactly what he's talking about. Something is up with that cool Scarface poster. It's like an invisible hand is rocking the poster back and forth. Even when the redditor tries to steady the poster, it continues to move. While some people like myself are first jumping to this office being haunted, not everyone is convinced." Laundry Ghosty wrote in the comments, "You need insulation in your walls. There's a small hole allowing a breezeway from the exterior wall to form. This phenomenon happened in our current house. It turned out it's because the insulation that was blown into the walls 30 years ago needed repairs and replacing. So what do you think? Is this office actually haunted, or are these walls just in need of some more insulation?"
Who's doing this?
Back in 1993, this TikToker's father took a video on a Sharp camcorder. She thinks he captured a ghost. Posted on TikTok by Olivia Bishop, the mysterious video shows a child at play while her parents watch.
For all those Gen Zs out there, this is a camcorder. We'd set it up, press record, and go about our day. I don't know why, it was just a 90s thing. And just so you guys know, we've had a ghost in every house that we've lived in, so that's why I found this very intriguing. Go ahead and watch that pumpkin in the left-hand corner, and let me know what you think.
A small plastic pumpkin sits at the end of a slide near the camcorder. After a moment, it rolls across the floor on its own for no discernible reason. Some in the comments note that the baby looks over at the pumpkin at the exact moment, like she senses something is there. Olivia claims to have had a ghost in every house they've lived in. Is this one of them? It appears that's the case. Number 3. Enigmatic Orbs Phenomena. Randy films his cat taking a midday snooze when something creepy moves overhead. I would say this is just a particle of dust, except the cat sees it too and bolts upstairs like it's one of the scariest moments it's ever had in all of its 9 lives. Something makes the cat open its eyes. It senses something is wrong. Then an apparent ghost orb floats by, and suddenly the cat no longer wants to be in the same room anymore. Skeptics, I'm sure, will be quick to point out that the cat could have been startled by the camera. That's a good point, except cats usually don't run in fear from their owner. This cat seems to have felt the presence of something, a feline sixth sense of sorts, and it doesn't stick around. This old house is allegedly haunted by the angry spirit of a previous inhabitant. Watch what happens in the dark basement shortly after a ghost hunter named Lylil Show sets up a camera and leaves. As soon as the lights turn off and the door shuts, an abnormal amount of orbs dance all around the camera, which then tips over. I think this is more than a coincidence because it happens within 5 seconds of his exit. Something down there obviously doesn't want to be filmed. The angry spirit resists all attempts to communicate. Here it swats an electrometer used to detect paranormal disturbances in the air. Between this and the camera falling over, I think the spirit wants to be left alone, and I think it's probably best to respect its privacy before it gets any more insistent. If you're about to blame some nighttime mischief on your pet, hold off for a hot minute and watch this. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit, Barton writes that his cat has been knocking things over at night for the past few weeks and waking them up, which is unlike him because he's a quiet cat during the day. So they set up a surveillance camera to try and catch him in the act. This is what they found. The first segment shows something fluttering the leaves of this flower on the table, but we know it's not the cat because he passes by the couch to the left. Later, as the cat is sitting on the couch, a dish towel falls from the fridge. Then an object is heard moving in the kitchen, and a close-up reveals the thing jiggling on its own on the counter. At the same time, a strange shadow appears on the front of the counter, although it's not clear if it's the cat being alerted to the sound or something else. Soon after, another object falls loudly from the countertop. Thus, we cannot see too well, nor do we know where the cat is. Then, after a strange orb moves through the scene, something else moves on the counter and is pushed to fall to the floor, all while the cat is perched on the table far away, watching. Then another object falls loudly next to it, which scares even the cat. This one wakes the owner up, who calls his cat a pain, but after watching the video in the morning, we're sure he regrets that. Was this cat, as some Redditors suggest, just protecting her owner at night? An adventurer from India goes exploring an abandoned house to see if it's really as haunted as they say. Within less than 2 minutes of entering the forsaken building, the explorer has his answer.
करके तो उसी जगह पर ये
A heavy negative energy looms in the air. All the rooms look the same, even the last one, except it has something extra waiting inside.
वो देखिए वो क्या चीज खड़ी है
A figure stands in the corner, and at 4 minutes and 25 seconds, a volley of ghost orbs seem to rush out of its silhouette frame upon being found. Orbs continue to dance all around as the figure inches towards with its head down. They continue for half a minute and only stop when the figure crosses into the next room. At no other point in the video do so many of these appear, only here when its presence is nearby. When he looks into the next room, the orbs have stopped and the figure is gone. The encounter is over, and he is left wondering the meaning of what he just saw. Number 2. In case of fire, a YouTuber named Miguel Alvarez is racing down the road at high speeds for a very good reason. He catches up to a red car and immediately gets the driver's attention.
Hey! It's on fire!
It's on fire!
The flames quickly crawl up the vehicle and soon reach the engine. What you see here is the end result just before firefighters arrived and contained the blaze. It looks bad, but things could have been way worse. The woman could have still been inside of this vehicle, if not for the heroic actions of Miguel Alvarez and his friends. Earl Kirkendall captures a bright light in the sky, but it's not a meteor, lightning, or an unidentified flying device. It's his poor neighbor's house erupting. This video is terrifying because of how calm everything is before, during, and after. There's no warning signs beforehand, and seconds later, you'd never know a family's entire livelihood has gone up in flames. Even scarier, a cause for the incident has yet to be determined, meaning anyone in the neighborhood could be next. Chris Condon and his friends go to an old mental hospital to spend the night on a dare. This location is a little different than the others on this list because it's rather well known and has become somewhat of a party area for high schoolers to hang out in. With this in mind, it's no surprise when Chris's group comes across some other random people who want to join. By midnight, the group is pretty large and everyone seems to be getting along well. They set up a tent and prepare to spend the night making new friends. A few hours later, they wake up to a huge blaze instead.
Oh my god. No. Be quiet, guys. You can hear it's full, buddy. Full.
Police are outside arresting everyone who leaves the building, so Chris and his friends stay put for a while and then barely manage to sneak away. At times they are surrounded by pitch black and are too afraid to use their lights. They're almost caught multiple times and ultimately never return to the location again. My biggest question now is what actually caused the fire? A YouTuber named 11 Makeda and their friends are camping in the backyard when they completely lose control of their bonfire. First, they try to put out the blaze with a simple garden hose. When that doesn't work, they try to smother the fire with dirt using shovels. Meanwhile, the flames grow taller and hotter as the fire spreads outwards, threatening to reach a house that's only a short distance away. Also, if it reaches the cornfield behind them, then the fire could quickly cover acres of land. The short 5-minute video ends before we get a chance to see what happens next. Hopefully they did the right thing and called for firefighters to put an end to the backyard inferno. Otherwise, if they were too afraid of getting in trouble and continued to try and contain it themselves, then it might very have cost somebody their home. I stumbled across a scary elevator video from a Hindi-speaking YouTube channel. This video was the thumbnail image, and yet the video itself was missing on the list. That made me want to track down the original, and guess what? It's every bit as creepy as it looks. What looks like your average couple's argument goes way too far when he sees the door close at 8 seconds. The woman fearfully flinches, and this video is hard to watch because nobody deserves this and there's nowhere for her to go. By the time the elevator stops, her hands are tense and she is completely frazzled from the mistreatment. He goes to get her, but a stranger does the right thing and steps in between them. He immediately backs off and looks down in shame and embarrassment, but probably only for himself at getting caught. Anyone who does this is pretty messed up. I think this relationship is probably over. Anyway, this was originally posted by the Interval House in California, a place for women to get out of relationships like this one. I'm assuming this CCTV video is real, and it's something we really need to eliminate from society however we can. I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because I upload 4 new scary videos every week. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. Number 1. Zombie deer encounters. This deer looks like it could be fine, except it's walking in circles with its tongue hanging out without a clue of its surroundings. A telltale sign of CWD. The person recording thinks this could be the work of hunters, but I disagree. Watch this part and tell me what you really think happened.
Oh yeah, you might have got shot.
The deer circles in place for well over a minute and then silently walks out to a nearby field. The way it is walking here makes me think that this is the result of something to do with the brain. The animal is so out of it that it looks ready to walk through the front door of a nearby home. Perhaps this exact scenario is precisely how it will one day spread to humans. I really hope this incident was reported to the proper wildlife agency for further investigation. Steve Beltran sees an infected deer on his street and begins recording this brief 10-second video as proof. The poor deer looks to be in a total panic as it spins in place, completely oblivious to Steve and his camera. Maybe it's just me, but Steve seems to be standing way too close here. The zombie deer could accidentally stumble over and fall on him. All I'm saying is I definitely wouldn't want to come into close physical contact with anything that's been infected, especially with CWD. This deer appears to have a massive growth that has taken over the entire right side of its head. I was thinking that this could possibly even be exposed brain, but I doubt it would still be alive if that were truly the case. Either way, the deer appears to be very much alert and not in a vegetative state, which suggests that this is just a growth. But then again, maybe it's going through the early stages of CWD and still has some brain function. The quiet wild animal seems to be completely unafraid of the camera and makes no attempts to get away. Based on its lack of a reaction, I would say this specimen is halfway through becoming an actual zombie deer. This young fawn has contracted an illness that is most likely CWD. It alters between standing paralyzed in place and spinning in circles, its neck rotating wildly all the while. At times it looks like its neck is going to snap, like here for instance. Maybe it is even trying to put itself out of its own misery. One thing that's strange is that this deer seems to prefer standing in areas with sunlight. Whether or not this sunlight-seeking behavior is based on instinct or actually provides some sense of relief is hard to tell for sure.